Welcome to RetroQuest, my retro video gaming podcast where I force my dad to play old video games he actually knows more about than I thought he would. I am your co-host, Teenage Prodigy, and here we have your original host, the OG gamer, Joystick Cowboy.
Giddy up.
What? Okay.
Say giddy up. What I said.
Giddy up. That's one hell of a way to introduce yourself, I guess.
How are you doing, Sako?
I am doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Just hanging out. Up in here.
Been about a week since we sat down here at our computers to talk about games.
Yes. Now here we find ourselves again here once more.
We sure do. For anybody who doesn't remember, we decided at the end of our last episode we would be playing Sonic Spinball.
Yep. Good old Sonic Spinball for the Sega Genesis / Sega Master System. A game I know just a tad bit about.
Just a little bit at least. Anything cool happened this week though before we get too far into like the episode?
Not much. I've been playing a lot of Vampire Survivors. You know, that's about what I've been hammering away out this week as far as video games are concerned. Yes, a lot of Vampire Survivors. What about you?
That's cool.
What have you been doing?
So I was taking a drink of water. So I've been playing Fallout 3 because I have Amazon Prime, so I just been like streaming it off of Luna because that's comes with Prime. So I was like, oh cool, I'll try this out. I played that. I've been playing a little bit of Fallout 4, and by that I mean I put like an hour into it this week. Played this game, of course, which was longer than I remember it being, but shorter than I expected. And then I worked more on movie stuff and budgeting and stuff, which is no fun. But you know what? You kind of have to do that. So
kind of have to do things sometimes.
You want things to work out. Anyways.
So yeah, that was my week. That was your week. That was our week. Playing, random Sega Genesis games and other life stuff. Yeah. So Sonic Spinball. Tell me a little bit
Genesis
about why you picked this game, Sako.
Okay, so I picked it because you brought it up, right? Because you were like, "How about you pick the episode?" And I was trying to think of one, and there was a game I was trying to think of. I still don't remember what game it was, but then you said Sonic Spinball, and I was like, "That is my game. I'm picking Sonic Spinball." Because I love this game. I've never got past the first level ever before.
Oh, really?
Until we played it. Till we just recently played it. I never got past it. And I was like, I wonder if it's just a really big first level and that's why I never got past it and it was just one big level, or if there's multiple levels and I've been missing out all these years. So yeah, it was. I chose it because I kind of wanted to learn more about it.
Okay, cool. And when's the first time you ever played this game?
Oh God, this has to be around the time when I was playing Echo the Dolphin. Probably a little later than that, because I didn't play this game until after I'd already fell in love with Sonic. So at that point, I'd already played like Sonic 1, 2, and I think 3 and Knuckles.
Okay.
But it was still around. It was like around that time, when I was really young, got the Sega Genesis collection for the PS3. And at some point, I was like, I was cool with Sonic. I was looking at the games and it said Sonic Spinball. I'm like, what's Sonic Spinball? So I picked it up. I checked it out and I liked it. I never got too far in it though, because I didn't understand what I was doing.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily play like a Sonic the Hedgehog game, even though it kind of does. It doesn't.
It weirdly does and also doesn't.
Like Sonic controls like he does in other games, but other than that, the game itself doesn't play like a Sonic game.
I feel like some of the platforming is very Sonic reminiscent though too, but like most of it isn't. So it's like you'll have these weird spots where it's like, this feels like a Sonic game,
Yeah, there
and
are
then you're on
parts
a
of it
pinball machine.
that are like cut and paste fucking spots from like Sonic games, it seems like. But those are just the parts that Sonic kind of fits in with as far as his ball movingness. But yeah, Sonic Spinball, it is what it is. Um so yeah, so my history with Sonic Spinball is a bit more complex. Not much more.
Mm.
I don't know why I said that. But anyhow, so I got Sonic Spinball included with my Sega Genesis. Whenever I first got my Sega Genesis, I got it in a bundle that came with two games. It came with this game and Sonic 1. So when I first got my Sega Genesis, the first ever Sega Genesis I got came with this and Sonic 1. So anytime I think of Sega Genesis, this game is one of those games that pop up. Like when I think of the original Nintendo, I have that core Mario Brothers memory because that was the game that came with it. That was the first game I ever popped in my Nintendo. This is, I think I actually played Sonic 1 before I got my Genesis, but I think this is the first game I popped in my Genesis because I'd already played Sonic 1. So I was like, oh, what's this? Sonic Spinball? What is that? And then I played it and I fucking hated it so much. When I was a kid, when I first got my Sega Genesis and I got this game with it, I hated this game. Like this was like not even that desperate game I would play on a fucking rainy Sunday afternoon. That wasn't even this game. This game was a game that went back in the case and I stuck it in a fucking corner in my closet somewhere for a long time. I don't think that original copy of Sonic Spinball, I think I threw it away at some point. I don't think I played it and I really cared about it. I just didn't like it. Okay. So that's that.
That's fair.
Fast forward like however many years when I had my GameCube. So I'm, like 18, 19 years old. I had my GameCube and I happened to get the Sonic Gems collection for my GameCube. And I was psyched. I was like, oh, cool, old school games on my GameCube. And I played it. And for whatever reason, I fired up Sonic Spinball at that time. And I got lost in a world of Sonic Spinball for like a week straight, where I played that game nonstop. When I was at the house just hanging out and I was going to play a video game, I was playing Sonic Spinball. I started getting so good at that game. I started speed running the game. Like I was just like playing it. I was like playing the levels, not even to complete them, just to play the levels. And I would avoid, doing whatever triggers that triggered the end of the level. And I would just play through the level and rack up points. And
that's so fair though.
Yeah. And I did that for a while until I finally burned out on it. And then I played it off and on throughout the years until this week when I played it off and on for a couple of days throughout the week. And that is my history with Sonic Spinball.
That's definitely a lot more complicated than mine. It was just a game I found because I liked Sonic.
Yeah. But yeah, I originally hated this game. And then it became one of my favorite Sonic games, quote unquote.
Sonic spin-offs, I guess.
A Sonic guide.
I guess this is only as much of a spin-off, I would say, as like Sonic 1 for the Game Boy, though.
I would say this is a spin-off game simply because most of the Sonic games, like the mainline games, follow, a story arc. And this necessarily doesn't. It's a side story. It's a spin-off. It's a quest that doesn't necessarily have to do with the main quest.
That's fair. I don't know. I guess, yeah, but I feel like if you call this a spinoff, then you have to call Knuckles Chaotix a spinoff, and that just feels sad.
Knuckles Chaotix?
Yeah.
Like the game, the 32X
Knuckles
game?
Yeah.
Have you played that game?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never even played that game. I never had a 32X.
Knuckles
and I don't think I've ever
is
fired up the ROM either. Like I have the ROM, I just don't think I've ever fired it up. Is it a good game?
Played it on a ROM.
I've never.
It's cool. It's so cool. I learned about it from a video. I was watching a video on YouTube about Sonic animation over the years. And that's how I discovered the game. And I was like, ooh, that game looks cool. So I picked it up and I thought it was pretty cool. I liked it.
I remember seeing it in magazines back in the days, and it just didn't look interesting to me. Like, it was like, oh, I don't know, for whatever reason, when I was younger and I saw 32X games, I was already a jaded gamer. And I was already like, that's just a fucking add-on. That's not even, I was already like, oh, that's, why don't we just put out a new system? Why do we got to add on? Like this is just a Sega Genesis game with like Sonic Knuckles lock-on technology. So I don't know. I never really looked at 32X games when they were coming out, when they were new, when I was a kid, and even had the desire. So later on, when I started going through games, going through ROM collections, I don't think I've ever fired up a 32X ROM in my life.
I fired
up some obscure fucking Atomic Wave fucking Naomi shit, but I've never felt the urge to fire up a 32X ROM for whatever reason.
Well, so the crazy thing is that Knuckles Chaotix was based off of, so the project that that became Knuckles Chaotix was originally just like a normal Sonic game, right? Like, it was supposed to be a 2-player Sonic game, right?
Yeah.
And like, it was going to just be for the Sega Genesis, no 35X, right? It was
32X, but yeah.
But they couldn't, 32X. They couldn't get it to run properly. So they threw away the tech demo, and then eventually Sonic and Knuckles came out. So what happened was they were like, everybody loves Knuckles. We need to give Knuckles a game. So they looked back through all these failed projects, and they're like, how about we just steal this idea for like the Sonic game and give it to Knuckles and give it its own whole cast of characters that everyone can love.
So was that cast of characters supposed to be like the cast of characters that was like in the Saturday morning cartoon show?
I think so.
Like those guys,
that
like
all those characters,
the bunny, the rat. There was like the rabbit with like
Victor,
atomic legs.
There's Victor too. Yeah, I think so. I might be wrong, but I think so.
I'm pretty sure all those characters in Knuckles Chaotix, from what I remember, none of them are from actual like the canon at the time of like the Saturday morning shows, because they had their own storylines.
The main thing that I know is that they ended up coming into the Sonic universe because of Knuckles Chaotix.
So were they original characters? Were they original characters designed for that game?
They might have been. I'm pretty sure. I know at least Victor was, because Victor was like the dream child of like 2 of the main developers of the game, and Victor's like the big alligator dude. And then there was the bee. I don't remember the bee's name. I think they were all original characters for it, but they all were like, it was like this whole complete cast without Sonic and Tails, but it was amazing, dude. It's a great game. And what happened, I don't know how often. I think some of the characters end up showing in one of the Sonic Adventures games. I don't know if they're ever playable, but I'm pretty sure they end up showing up.
I'm sure those characters show up somewhere.
But I do know they're in Sonic. I'm pretty sure 2 of them are in Sonic All-Star Racing, and all of the characters are actually in the opening cutscene for Sonic Generations.
Oh.
Every character from Knuckles Chaotix, as well as most of like Sonic's friends, are in the opening cutscene when everything gets swallowed by the big bad dude.
Well, you know a lot about Knuckles Chaotix. Maybe we'll play that game one day.
Do. We can. Yeah, actually, that'd be cool. I love that game. It's fun.
Yeah, that's a game I have no history whatsoever with. And that's kind of cool.
It's about more realistic, like it's kind of more like about this realistic type physics, like that's a little different from Sonic. Like, your momentum affects, like, because you're affecting another person. So it's like the way you're going, you pull someone else with you, right? You have to, like, you can plant your feet in the ground. The other dude can run, and like you can slingshot. Like,
it had like a partner system. Now that I'm thinking of it, right? You played like 2 people at once. Okay, yeah. Now I'm remembering it. Yeah, still doesn't seem appealing.
That's funny.
It does feel appealing to me?
Sonic Spinball.
Sonic Spinball is what I was gonna say. God dang it, Bobby.
I just know you too well.
Anyhow, yeah, Sonic Spinball. Man, Nicholas Chaotix actually does start sounding appealing to me. All jokes aside, we should give that a shot one of these days.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anyhow, Sonic Spinball. Let's do a little rundown of the game, a little bit of info. Drop the 411 as the kids used to say back in the day. I don't know what the kids say nowadays.
I was about to say, no one said that in like 20 years, Dad.
Yep. Anyway, Sonic Spinball, also known as Soniku Sopinaburu, or Sonic the Hedgehog Spinball, is a pinball-style spin-off video game in the Sonic the Hedgehog series that was developed by the American members of Sega Technical Institute in association with Poly Games. It was released for the Sega Mega Drive in 1993. An alternate version of the title was also released for the Sega Master System and the Sega Game Gear the following year. In Sonic Spinball, Dr. Eggman, which I don't know if he was Dr. Eggman at the time. I think he was still Dr. Robotnik. They were still.
I think he was Dr. Eggman by now. I think in America it was Dr. Eggman.
Is early. This is early. This is an early Sega game. This is 93.
True. I guess so. I think it was Eggman though. I might be wrong, but I think it was at this point.
No, I think because this is still when the cartoon was still live. Like this was like still him.
Yeah.
Like Robotnik. I think the first time I ever heard him referred to as Eggman was in Sonic Adventure, if I remember correctly. Because even
actually, that sounds right.
Sonic, what is it? Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. You know, Dr. Robotnik, right in the title. I think that game came out right around the same time as this game. Like, so I'm pretty sure at this time he was still very culturally insensitive with his nomenclature. You know?
Yeah.
So
did you know that the little animals are called Robotniks? The in the Sonic games are called Robotniks.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. They're called something. They're named after him at least. I'm pretty sure they're called Robotniks though.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure they are called Robotniks in this game, but in the lore, they're called Badniks. Because from what I read, it said in
they
Sonic,
might be called Botniks. Badniks.
No, calling them Robotniks sounds right. But, retconning that into Badniks would be something they'd have to do when they retconned him into Dr. Eggman. So,
true.
We'll just say they're Badniks / Robotniks, just like he's Dr. Eggman / Dr. Robotnik.
/ Robotnik.
Right. And he built the Vegiforest because he looks like a dude who enjoys his veggies. It's a stronghold used to turn animals into, Badniks / Robotniks for his robot army. So in the game, Sonic infiltrates the base to thwart that goddamn Robotnik's ambitions. Sonic must make his way through the Vegifortress. I wonder if it was called Vegiforce originally. That doesn't sound right. That sounds generically retconned like Badniks or Dr. Eggman, but
yeah,
I don't know. Anyhow, the Vegimatic's fortress has a pinball defense system. So he has to go through this pinball defense system to rescue the kidnapped animals and bring the fortress down. Yeah. So that's basically, the premise of the game is there's a pinball defense system in this fortress. And you would think if I was an evil scientist, genius person, and my arch nemesis was a creature who thrives on rolling into a ball and getting into mischief, my fucking defense system wouldn't be based on, a ball thwarting it. Like the basis of pinball is a ball, beating the game. You're setting yourself up for failure, Dr. Robotic. See, this is your mistake.
He kind of does that all the time, though. It's like his number one thing is setting himself up for failure, though.
I mean, he had some good ideas. Like he has floating shit. Like that's cool, but he also has like loop de loops that lead to his floating shit. So like let's
He
get
did
rid
kidnap
of
a princess once, so
let's get rid of the flippers and the loop de loops. How about you just have like
a dragon.
Dude, all he had to do is make the same exact defense system as your pinball defense system. Just don't put flippers.
Yeah,
Like boom,
that would have
you
been all
win.
it takes.
Like
Because Sonic
now
cannot
what?
run up those slopes.
Now what? Now it's just a bunch of angled tubes that with no way to get up them. I mean, maybe somehow, but I mean, you just made it a lot more difficult just by taking out the flippers. Why would you put the flippers in? You're assisting. You're like whoever's trying to break into your place. The flippers are there just to fucking assist
The main
them
question
in robbing you.
How does Sonic get control of the flippers? Is my question.
Well, see, I don't know. It's probably like there's probably like a little like remote control with buttons that he found in the very beginning of the thing that they don't tell you about.
He found the Sega Drive controller. The Sega Drive. Okay, continue your story.
So, Sonic the Hedgehog. It received mixed reviews, From me, it received horrible reviews. I said, fuck that game.
I could tell.
I hate that game. That's what I said about that game. So the plot of the game is I think it takes place in more of the Jaleel White Saturday morning cartoon, because there was 2 Saturday morning cartoons of Sonic at this time. There was the like the like wacky one with Jaleel White as
and
the
there was
voice.
And there was the super serious one.
And there was like the super serious Saturday morning one that was like, and that's the one that had like a plot and it had like the extended characters where I think Amy came from there. That bunny came from there.
Amy came from that one.
That's where that came from. Whereas the wacky one had, which I enjoyed more with the wacky one, it had him and Tails. That's where his whole thing with chili dogs came from. Dr. Robotnik was just a doofus. And then he had those 2 robots that were like his goons that like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had that rooster, that tall rooster, and then he had that small
the rooster
drill
dude
one that was like a drill person for some reason, whatever.
And they were kind of stupid.
And see, I like that. Actually, if I think of it, this one's probably more based on the super serious Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon
because it's edgy.
I also think some of those characters actually make cameos in this game. Because, I mean, well, the plot is that it's set on Planet Mobius, which is always Planet Mobius ever since that was introduced in lore in the cartoons. Because I don't think that was ever said in any games until after the cartoons. So Dr. Eggman / Dr. Robotnik starts kidnapping animals to turn them into his little fucking creatures. And he sets up that Vegematic fortress, and it's powered by volcanoes and chaos emerald energy. With its pinball defense system that houses 16 Chaos Emeralds, which is different than 8 in... Is it 6
it's
or
8
8?
In most of the other games.
8, yeah.
It's 8 in most of the games.
So, Sonic and Tails show up in their airplane and Sonic just kind of...
You know what I was really hoping for?
Takes a swan dive.
I was collecting all of these emeralds, right? And I'm like, you know what? At the end of the game, I better turn into Super Sonic. I better get to start flying around the map and fight Dr. Robotnik. And it never happened. And that made me sad.
No, because it doesn't do that. Like, if you fucking collect 16 Chaos Emeralds and you still ain't Super Sonic, I don't know how you would implement that very well. Yeah.
They should have. I don't care how game breaking it would have been. They could have done it.
I mean, I could see. Well, okay, so being supersonic, what would that do for you?
You can fly, what Supersonic can do. He's like fast,
yeah, but
he can go like Mach.
The physics of this game, Supersonic can damn near fly. He can, rings collect to him. he doesn't ever necessarily like Supersonic doesn't ever even turn into like a ball. Like Supersonic, that's his thing. Is he like goes super fast and like glides like above the ground? You know what I mean? How he looks like Supersonic doesn't go
Yeah,
into ball form.
that's true.
His hair's too Super Saiyan to do that. It just doesn't work.
You know,
But yeah,
I
mean that is kind of
100%
a
believe
disappointment.
Supersonic is based off of of Super Saiyan design.
Well, I think it's
I
based off
100%
like
believe it.
I think it's based off of sort of that thought. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if the Super Saiyan like whole thing isn't even still like a different like Japanese trope from manga where, and I think it is where characters become super powered and their hair becomes golden or something, or they have an aura or they can fly. Because I could think of several different properties where that's kind of a thing that happens in different ways. Even the guy from
Yeah.
Thundercats, he does a thing with his sword.
But I mean,
You know,
I guess I feel like when I think about it, Dragon Ball seems like the oldest piece of literature, not literature, but piece of media to do that.
well, they didn't do. No one went Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball. Like the first time
Oh,
someone
really?
went Super Saiyan thing happened the first time when Goku fought Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z in the what is that, like the second or third season of Dragon Ball Z was the first time that Goku ever went Super Saiyan to fight Frieza. I believe that's how he went Super Saiyan, is to fight Frieza.
I really need to watch Dragon Ball, I guess, because I have
You
no
really
clue.
need to watch Dragon Ball. Yeah.
But isn't it like it's like 80 hours combined of all the shows?
Well, you want to watch Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or
Well, I mean,
like,
if I'm gonna watch one, because don't they all have an overarching story that comes together?
Well,
I just watch all of them.
yeah, obviously. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. I mean, I like Dragon Ball, the original one. I watched that as a kid. I used to catch it randomly because it came on super early in the morning on like school days. It wasn't even on like a Saturday morning. It was like it came on like at 4:30 in the morning on like weekdays on some random channel that I once I found out, I was like, oh, I was always like, I'm gonna get up super early, and then like it never happened but once or twice in my whole life. Or more
That's
than that,
funny.
but maybe once or twice a month I was able to get myself up that early to watch Dragon Ball. Or I would like try to like stay up late and just make it through, and then I just would pass out early and not see the cartoon and also ruin my whole day the next day. So yeah. But yeah, Dragon Ball is fun. It's more wacky. You see, it's kind of, by today's standards, it's kind of gives you some creep feelings sometimes. There's a lot of Goku running around fucking with his pecker hanging out, and there's a lot of not literally, but there's like naked Goku running around with his bare ass cheeks just there. Master Roshi's a straight up fucking creep. Like, he's a creep all around, but in Dragon Ball, the original, he's especially creepy because there's a lot of underage Bulma in that fucking in that series.
Oh no.
So it tends to hit a creep level of, makes you feel a little uncomfortable some episodes. But as a kid in the 80s, it was fucking, oh, this is weird. Japanese cartoons are weird. Whatever. This is funny.
Yikes.
Yeah. So that's that. Yeah, you should watch Dragon Ball. If you want to watch Dragon Ball Z, I would recommend doing the abridged Dragon Ball Z, or doing or Dragon Ball Kai. I think there's Dragon Ball Kai, which is better versions than the original animes, where they just drag everything out so much. Like, that's what really keeps me from ever rewatching the whole series again, is just like, I don't have the time for that. I don't have the time to watch a speech last an episode.
Yikes.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
That's
Sonic
scary.
Spinball.
Sonic Spinball.
Yeah, so the gameplay is pretty cool. The gameplay is what really drives this game home. Because it's very unique. I've never found a game like that plays like this. I found games that I don't want to even say try to imitate it, because I don't see any games that try to imitate this. I see character games like you know what I mean, like character driven games that don't add the platforming that this game does. And I think that's what I fucking ended up loving about this game was
Yeah.
the platforming that's added to the pinball. Because I played even the other Sonic Pinball, whatever, for the Game Boy Advance, I think it was, and Kirby Pinball and all that shit. It's pinball, but it's just pinball with a few different special mechanics here and there, but none of it has like the platforming here. Like you feel like you have control over Sonic.
Yeah. You can even move him in the air too.
Yeah, you can kind of guide the direction that he goes in. Even after you hit it and he goes in one direction, you can kind of give it, a little bit of English in one way or the other by holding that direction. And that's what makes it unique, because this game, most pinball
It's not
games,
like a pinball game.
Yeah, most pinball games, you feel like you're in control of the pinball table, and the ball is the ball, whether it's Kirby or Sonic or fucking Metroid, Or, not Metroid, I meant to say Samus.
That's funny.
Did you know Metroid's married to Halo?
Game.
Did you know Metroid's married to Halo? No, but anyway,
so that's something. That's gotta be a meme from your age.
Anyhow, you're like, other pinball games, even Mario Pinball. You're holding the pinball table and you're in control of the table, and the ball is the ball, whatever it is. Whereas this game, it feels more like you're in control of Sonic, and Sonic has control of the flippers, and that's it. Like you don't have control of the table. You have control of Sonic, and Sonic is somehow controlling the flippers, and that's it. So it feels more like a video game and less like a pinball game. It just happens to be styled like a pinball game. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, completely.
So like, even though this is like a pinball game, like in my mind, I'm not like, oh, it's that Sonic pinball game. It's in my mind, I'm like, no, it's that Sonic game where
Sonic
he's in
Spinball.
It's that Sonic game where he's in that pinball world. This would be great. Like if one of these levels could be a level out of another Sonic game.
Yeah, actually, that's true. I could see that.
I wouldn't be surprised if these were all going to be special levels in a Sonic game of some sort, and at some point they just decided that the bonus levels were cool enough to release as a game of their own. I would not be surprised to learn that.
That would make sense given how short this game is.
Yeah, how short? I mean, the levels can be complex, but you can also beat them super fast if you know what you're doing. And the point is, you grab a crystal real quick. Yeah, I could see there had been a Sonic game out there, and they were developing, even maybe Sonic 3. Maybe when they were developing Sonic 3 and they were going through different ideas, this maybe was one of the ideas. And they said, because I mean, that would work perfectly. I would love a Sonic game with this. These would be like the levels, the special levels where you get your Chaos Emeralds. Has no one ever done that? Has no one ever hacked a Sonic game to replace the special levels with Sonic Spinball levels? Has no one ever done that? Someone should do that. Can someone please do that?
That's our job now.
I want someone to
We're both computer guys.
I don't have the time for that, but I would pay somebody
That's fair.
to take Sonic, let me think. Sonic 1. Say Sonic 1. And because I don't like the special levels in Sonic 1 where they like spin around,
I like those ones.
I don't like those ones. Those ones make me dizzy. I replace those with Sonic Spinball levels, and that's how you get your Chaos Emeralds. Boom, done.
But imagine how long that would take, though.
Not really, because I could beat one of in the time it takes to beat one of these levels, it would add maybe 10 minutes onto each level. And then once you got 8, I guess, I mean, that's a short game too, though. That would make that game longer just by adding these little little bursts in there.
That's fair. I feel like Sonic 1 was the easiest one to get to the special levels because there weren't any hidden paths or anything. You literally just went and you jumped. If you were going fast enough and you had enough rings.
In the levels. I mean, Sonic 2 really took that, diverging pathways home, but in the first Sonic game, there are some diverging pathways here and there. Not even diverging pathways, just more or less little side areas.
But
where
I mean
you can
to get to
something.
the secret levels themselves. Like, I mean to get to the secret levels, like in the second game and the third game, you have to find them.
Yeah,
Whereas
well, no,
in
the second
they're not generally
game-
well hidden.
In the second game, you just have to get so many rings and then go through that those markers, and then that circle starts spinning, and you have to go through that circle.
Oh yeah,
It's
but
it's
yeah,
in
I mean,
it's in 3 and Sonic and Knuckles where they're like hidden. Even
you have
like
to find
there's
them.
like false walls.
But they're not hidden
and
very
stuff.
well though. Like they're
Some of
not
them are.
hidden very well.
Once you
Some
know
of them
where
are,
they're
but most
at-
of the time you can see them.
Once you know where they're
Most of the time
at,
you can
of
see
course,
them.
It seems dumb, but when I was a kid, it took me a minute to find those Chaos Emeralds. It took me a minute. And when I'm saying a kid, when I played Sonic 3 came out, I was in what, 5th grade? And then Sonic and Knuckles came out when I was also in 5th grade, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
because they came out about the same time.
And yeah, like it took me a minute to actually find all those different things, you know. But then again, I was also busting out Game Informers and stuff and EGMs, and that's how I found that stuff most of the time. I wasn't good at finding those kind of things in games at that time.
Want to know another fun Sonic 3 fact?
What's that?
So Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles were originally supposed to be one game,
Yeah, I know that.
but because the Sega was doing like this promotional thing with McDonald's to release all these toys for Sonic and Knuckles. So they were like, okay, let's just release the base Sonic 3, right? We'll just release that now, and then we'll come up later on with the technology to release the second part of the game so people can finish it. Sega single-handedly created the DLC.
Well, they already had that technology because they were already working on the 32X. So they already basically knew how that lock-on technology would work, because all you're doing is extending you're not changing anything on the part of the chip that has any like how the game works. You're basically just adding levels and you're adding a character, you know?
Yeah.
So that lock-on technology wasn't super complicated. I mean, I'm sure it was. I'm not sitting here saying it was a simple process, but you know, as far as it was just like connecting the two chips together to work as one, basically. But yeah, I knew that's how it came about, that they were split in half, which is stupid because Sonic 3, when I did play it the first time, I was like, this is really cool, but this is a short game. Like this is like, by that time games were a little longer, you know. This is the 16-bit era. We had like Super Mario World, where that game was not a short game.
Echo the Dolphin.
Well, yeah, you couldn't just sit down and play that game like, boom, I beat that game, boom.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So the gameplay is fucking what wins it. You know, it's a 2D platforming game with pinball elements. I wouldn't say it's a pinball game.
It really is not.
You like is that your thing? The gameplay is that?
I love it. I love
why
it.
you like this game? I'm assuming.
Yeah, that was always what drew me to the game when I was younger, right? I think I explained this before in earlier episodes. I'm not super like cool. I love it if graphics look good, but that doesn't interest me super well. I like if the game feels nice. I've never been interested in how well the game looks, just how well it plays.
Okay. Yeah, this game plays unique, and like I said, you won't find another game. If somebody knows of a game that plays like this, let me know, because I will play that game. And yeah, it looks like, yeah, this game's gonna be probably set in the world of that darker Saturday morning cartoon, which is actually, I think, the same like setting of the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book. I used to have the Sonic the Hedgehog
the Archie
comics. The Archie comics. I used to have that first run, like all the fucking, like a whole like run of them. And then I had some of the specials, Knuckles ones, and then I had like there were crossover ones. Like I read a lot of those Sonic the Hedgehog comics. Like Bunny Rabbit is in this game. She makes a cameo at some point. Sally makes a. Wait, no, I don't think Amy. Yeah, Amy doesn't come from that first Saturday morning cartoon show, because that one had
she comes from the Archie comics. She was Amy. Amy came from the Archie comics.
You're thinking of Sally.
No, I'm thinking of Amy. Amy's the girl with the big hammer.
Yeah.
Sally also came from the Archie comics, but Sally's not as big of a character.
Saturday morning cartoon.
Sally's not nearly as big of a character, though. I don't think she's even been included in anything for years.
Yeah, Sally never went anywhere, and Amy became like the female
Amy didn't
counterpart.
Amy was introduced in the Archie comics, but people didn't receive her super well. But they brought her back at some point for, I don't remember which cartoon, but one of the cartoons, and they also brought her back for Sonic Adventure as a playable character, and that's when everyone fell in love with her. And then it was like,
fell in love with Amy. I don't hate. Hate's a strong word, and I'll save that for Big the Cat. So I can't say I hate Amy.
Why do you hate Big the Cat?
Okay, so that's a complicated as well. I don't hate Big the Cat. I hate Big the Cat like when you play as him in any video game at all. But as a character, for whatever reason, he tickles me. Like, he's a big, dumb fucking cat that fishes. And I don't know why, but he amuses me. Although I hate him so much when it comes to any time, like in Sonic Adventure, and you have like to play as Big the Cat. I hate that so much. But as a character, I find him amusing. Just a big, dumb cat.
That's fair.
Oh, hi,
I was about to say, there's no way
Sonic.
you hate Big. I was about to say, there's no way you hate Big the Cat. You might hate the way he plays, but you can't. Nobody can hate Big the Cat.
I don't know. I bet you there are people out there who hate Big the Cat. Trust me.
Well, evil is what they are. They don't deserve to roam the streets.
Let's talk about the levels
Sonic
a little bit.
Pinball.
Yeah, let's talk about the levels a little bit. So we got 4 levels and then the bonus level. So the first level that you show up in is Toxic Caves.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool. You know, you got the waste, toxic waste with the little like dragon snake robot that comes out of there and eats you if you hang out in those barrels too long. It's really creative, and this is where you kind of learn the mechanics of how this game is going to work really well. If you really get into this game, you know, there are multiple pathways. You can take the same path all 3 times to get the first 3 Chaos Emeralds, or the 3 Chaos Emeralds. You can take the same path and just make a slight alteration at the very end, and you never even have to experience the whole pinball like set of the game, like, which is cool. I always thought that was cool. Like, I would play this and try to beat the levels in different ways because this game has replayability with that. Because you can go through, you can flip all the switches, you can do all the things and get the Chaos Emeralds, or you can just go the left side and then, you know, when you hit the cart, take the left, and when go the left side again, when you hit the cart, take a right, and then go to the left side again and just drop down the middle. And then you never even have to go to the right side or vice versa. You know what I mean? It's just, it teaches you that this is a different kind of game. Like, you can skip half the level if you want. You don't even have to do that stuff over there if you don't want to. You know, you can break all the stuff and unlock all the, you know, couple different ways on the left side or the right side, and then that's just what you do. And that's super unique at this time to where you could just play this pinball game how you want it. You know, and that was super unique.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. It doesn't seem like the kind of thing you would see in older games like this, right? Like, even if we look back at games that we haven't played many games from this time, actually, like that came out around this time, but like if we look back at games from this time that I've played, right? You're very you have to do all of this if you want to get to here. You have to do everything that the developers put out there, right? Because they were so full of themselves. They want you to see every little thing they did, so they make you do everything they can to make you see everything they did. Whereas this game, right? Like, the developers did an amazing job crafting great levels, great work, great art, like, and you don't even have to see all of it if you don't want to. Like,
yeah, I mean, the animations are smooth on this game too.
Oh yeah, it is nice.
And I think I really like that first level of the Toxic Cave because it's just so colorful. Even though it's dark, it's colorful and dark. It's like an almost neon kind of colorful. And that goes really good for the Sega Genesis, the way it runs the game.
And the
You know,
color chip in the Sega Genesis is like that neon coloring is really good for it too. Like it does good at like projecting that and making it feel right. Whereas I feel like and this might just be a me thing when I like looking back at it, but I did own a like actual Sega Genesis at one point. I feel like the less dim the colors were, the weirder it played.
yeah,
Right?
that's true.
The more bubbly the game felt, the like harder it was to like jump at the same time, you know?
Yeah, it's like they had to put
Like
more
it just
processing power in, like how it looked, and then it was a little slippier, or you know, maybe not as responsive with the controls. Whereas this game, I don't know. There are some bright spots in this game, like the next level, the lava powerhouse. It
yeah.
is not necessarily a dark level at all. It's all bright oranges
No.
and fire, and you know what? It's just the same. You can go one side or the other. You can keep going to the left, keep going to the right. You go down the middle. This one has a little bit more trickier areas, like where you have to kind of use those air things to pop you up and then land on top of those bird things that fly and then bounce up, like in that middle area. That's kind of tricky.
Oh yeah. I like it
But
though.
I
It's
like the
like
level. I like the little loop to loops
yeah.
that it catches you and then it shoots you. I kind of like
Yeah.
those. It's like it does like a little cocking action. Like you go down, it's like, and then it shoots you into that wall 3 times to break it.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that. There's the like and no, I feel like every level had like was completely unique.
Yeah,
Right? Like yeah, they all had like the pinball flippers, whatever, but like the mechanics in them are all completely different.
yeah. Every level had
Like
it was its own, almost, like you said, its own mechanics, its own. The kind of thing they took away from pinball machines is every pinball machine like was literally different. It was built different. It was different physics. They were at different angles. They had different kind of mechanisms on the board that shot the ball this way or trapped it or took it and transported it. You know what I mean? There was like when
yeah.
pinball machines themselves are vastly different, and that's kind of the one thing that I took away as far as like this. Every level is vastly different, uses completely different mechanics than the other one. Like that first level, you got like those rail cars and the things you ride on them never show up again. It's the only time you ever do that. That second level with those air things that shoot you up, the only time you deal with those air gasket things or those things I just talked about where they loop the loop and shoot you. That's it.
Yeah.
It's every stage is different. And this third stage is the stage I fucking hate. Because it is. I guess I don't hate it. Hate's a strong word. I'll save that for Big the Cat. It's
I guess I don't know too much. I don't know too much about actual like pinball machines though, because the only like quote unquote pinball game I've ever played, except for like these themed ones that are like based on games, the only like one I played is Space Cadet for the Windows XP.
Well, haven't you
That's
ever
the
played
only,
I'm
like,
talking about
pinball game
actual
I've ever
pinball
played.
machines?
Yeah, like I've played one pinball machine, and that was in our local arcade. It was like a South Park pinball machine. That's the only one I've ever played.
Last time, whenever we go to what's the arcade place? Timeout or Press Start? Whenever we go to Press Start, don't
Press
you ever
Start.
play any of the arcades or any of the pinballs? I swear I
No,
saw you playing a
I
pinball
usually
machine
play,
last time
like-
we were there.
That was the South Park one.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, most of the time I'm either playing Rampage or Guitar Hero.
Yeah, that checks out. So yeah, level
Sonic
3.
Spinball.
Level 3, the machine. I don't like this level. I find it tedious. I don't like the area where
loved it.
there's those like flippers and you have to hit them so many times so they disappear or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I don't hate this level. I just find this more tedious. It's probably the level I enjoy least. I'm not gonna say I hate it. I just don't enjoy it as much.
I liked it. I liked the moving platforms too.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's got a lot of interesting mechanics, like the sides where they're wide open.
Yeah. Dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not bad. And then you got the fourth level, which is the showdown. Now that level is cool. there is a lot of color, a lot of, just looks cool. It's party time.
Yeah. The actual boss fight though feels like kind of janky.
Well, every boss fight in this game seems kind of janky. Like the whole, like all in all, as much as I freaking love this game and I put it on a high tier, this game itself is kind of janky. Like it just feels
It
kind of
really
janky.
is.
Like, and I think that might have been one of the things back in the day when I first played it, where I was like, this game is weird and janky, and like sometimes the physics don't feel like they're working right, but most of the time they feel spot on. But there are those few times where you'll just slide past a corner on something and you'll be like, hey, I touched that corner. What's going on here?
Mostly with the pinballs.
Yeah, so I
the
mean,
flippers.
it is. This whole game is kind of jank, but the boss fight is, and it's kind of anticlimactic. It's just more drawn out than it is hard. You know, it's one of those classic boss fights where you fuck up and it sends you way back and you have to like climb your way back to the Colossus.
But it does give you 3 strikes before you get sent all the way back. So
Yeah,
that's nice. It
that is
lets you know
nice.
what you're doing is wrong. Like it's not like, you messed up a little bit, you're gone for good. No, it's like, just so you know, you messed up. Don't do this again. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's so weird because the boss fight is oddly inconsistent with like how it wants to work. Right? Like
Yeah.
you can, like the
Explain
mechanic
it.
is obviously supposed to be that you hit so you're in this this big room, right? And there's these 2 jets, they're like jet thing, like they shoot out fire and stuff, and in the middle of them is this button. Hitting the button, harms both of the jets, or you can hit the jets themselves on where the fire comes out, and that'll harm them, right?
Okay.
And when you hit the button, it's supposed to be like you hit it a few times, right? And then Robotnik's hands disappear, like the hands that he can use to like drop you, right?
Yeah.
And then you hit it some more times, or you can do the same thing hitting the jets, but you have to just hit them more times than you end up hitting the button. It doesn't change either way though. At some point you just keep hitting them. And then it's supposed to make those things at the top that grab you and fling you towards the windows, make them disappear. So sometimes you'll hit them, and instead of the things disappearing, the hands will just come back.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah.
then it's like, I just spent torturous minutes aiming perfectly to hit this button only for the game to curse me and bring back the hands when I should be able to go bonk him on the head right now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that checks out. Yeah, that. I remember that similar things happening like that to me. Yeah, that's the jankiness does get to you, but you know what? It's not hard. It's kind of anticlimactic.
No.
So the jankiness is like, okay, this is janky, but the jankiness, it isn't like an old Nintendo game where the jankiness just makes it super hard. It just makes it a little more tedious and annoying.
Yeah.
And then you beat the game and you get that really thank you. Or what does it say? It's like thank you for beating the game or something.
I don't remember what it says. I just remember the closing cutscene and then the credits.
Yeah, and then and that's the game. Other than the bonus stages, how'd you like the bonus stages? Those were all right to me. I could take those or leave those.
Oh, I liked them. For a second I was like, wait, bonus stages, and then I was like, oh yeah, I almost completely forgot about those.
You know, where it's basically just a simple little thing, and you got to bust those light bulbs with
where it's like
Robotnik.
where it's more like an actual pinball machine.
Yeah, where I'm like,
I liked them.
Hey, and it's like
I beat every single one of them.
I beat them all. I mean,
I
they're
beat
super
every
easy.
single one of them. Yeah, and
I mean, I beat those
enjoyed
back in
beating
the
them.
day on this game. You know, well, back in the day, as far as when I was like 20. But when I used to speed run this game, I used to fucking just blaze through it and play it different ways, go different routes, and just played this game up and down for a week or two. Just I lived and breathed this game, and then I finally burned out, and then I stayed on my list of games I play at least fire this game up a couple times a year. Just love it.
Yeah, I can see that.
But that's Sonic Spinball.
I'm surprised we managed to make a full-length episode of this.
I can keep talking. You want to keep talking? We can talk about.
I can too.
We can talk about some Sonic Spinball stuff. Yeah. So this is a multiplayer game. You got 1 to 4 players. Now you can change the speed. Did you change the speed at all?
I think I had it on fast.
Yeah, I put mine on fast every time. So yeah, this game
because the first thing I did was go. Apparently the settings are automatically set to 2-player. And that was something I learned when I first ever played the game.
Oh, really? Mine weren't.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure.
I died. Like, I don't think it mattered. I don't think I died.
Yeah,
so.
I was about to say probably because you didn't die. But I remember the first time I ever played this game, I died, and I didn't have a second Sega Genesis controller hooked up, so I didn't even have one. So I was just sitting there staring at the screen as it said "Player 2 go," and I'm like, "What do I do now?" Like, I was just staring at my screen until I eventually just restarted the game and like found out how to make it 1-player. But
I think that happened to me back in the day, if I remember correctly, because that just brought like this weird, very grainy black and white memory of me doing that same exact thing. Huh?
It's so.
You don't say.
Some things never change.
Some things never change. All right, you got anything else to say about this game?
Love it.
That's all right, so 16 bits. How many bits would you give this Robotnik bot? I don't know where I was going with that. All right, out of 16, what would you give this game?
Ooh, okay. I love how the games get higher with it because I have much more flexibility with my answer. I'm gonna have to go with like a solid 15, solid 15. I can give it a 15.
That's crazy.
I'm happy with that.
I give it a 15 as well. Happy. I was just thinking myself, 15. The only thing I'm gonna say, I would give it a 16 if it was just like one more level. It's just kind of short. Just give me one more level, and this would be a straight 16 out of 16 game.
I agree with that. One more level, I would definitely be willing to give it. I was between 14 and 15, but 15 felt more. I like it. So.
All right. So that was Sonic the Hedgehog, a straight 15 out of 16 game. Give us another level, Sega. Give you another point. That was a very weird thing to say. So
they'll totally make another Sonic Spinball level.
Dude, I would love if they did like one of those HD remasters of this game. Like
they should have included it in the it's a Sonic Superstar or whatever.
Yeah.
Sonic Spinball should have came with it. Sonic Spinball extension for Sonic Superstars, and I will buy Sonic Superstars.
I bought Sonic Superstars. It's all right. So yeah, you got any plugs? Anything cool to say? About
Teenage Prodigy, Socko Gaming, all social media platforms, which you can find through our link tree. So I don't really need to list them anymore. If you want to keep up with the information about the movie, this is really the only place I talk about it because I don't post on social media about it that much anymore.
Okay.
Other than that, that's all my plugs.
All right, and this is as for us, you can find all of our links on our RetroQuest link tree, which is on anywhere you're listening to us. I'm sure there's a link to our link tree, which links to my link tree, and it also links to Sokko's link tree. It's a bunch of trees linking to each other. If you're listening to us on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. If you're on any of our podcast aggregators, rate us, review us, give us some comments. That's the only thing that helps us. We're on YouTube at RetroQuest Podcast. Just search for RetroQuest Podcast. Everything else, it's RetroQuest. Which the only other place is Spotify and YouTube and Amazon Music. Yeah. That's all I got. Just
should we decide on a game?
Give us some ratings and give us some reviewings and give us some thumbs uppings and some subscribers.
Should we decide on a game real quick, or should we do that off camera this time?
Bonk's Adventure for the TurboGrafx 16.
Okay, text that to me. I did not catch it.
Yeah, I thought about this earlier. It's going to be Bonk's Adventure for the TurboGrafx 16.
You said Bon, and I thought you were about to say Bonsai Bros.
I'm sure I'll see you at some point.
I thought you were about to say Bonsai Bros.
I'm sure I'll see you at some point today and tell you the name of it, because seeing as how we live together.
Yeah. I know what my next game choice is, though. I have it written down now because I finally remembered what it was. I'm not going to say it, but I know my next time I pick one, I know what we're playing.
Cool. Well, we're playing Bonk's Adventure this time for the TurboGrafx 16.
Bonk's Adventure
Bonk's
for
Adventure.
the TurboGrafx.
Yes.
Bonk's Adventure.
Okay.
Okay.
Bonk's Adventure. Anything else you got to say?
Bye, guys.
This has been RetroQuest, and I have been Joystick Cowboy, and he has been Sako, the Teenage Prodigy.
Bye, guys.
Join us again next week, where we'll talk about another video game. Bye.
Bonk's Adventure.
For the TurboGrafx 16. Bye.